Hey guys, what's up, how are you doing? Hey, today we're going to be talking about Malaysia. We're going to talk about Malaysia. I don't know, this selfie camera is a bit blurry because of the screen protector. Anyway guys, we're going to talk about Malaysia. I went to Malaysia recently, went with a group of friends. We organized the travel as part of Gene Coaching School, which is the life coaching school that we run online. It was an awesome trip. I just want to run over a few things and show you that it is possible to actually go with friends. I also need to tell you a few things that you need to know before you go that could actually make your life much easier, but also encourage you to go. Like I always say, traveling is part of finance. For me, it's part of money. Traveling, if you do not enjoy traveling, someone once said that if you don't enjoy traveling, then you are certainly not doing it right. Okay? So, for some of us who have traveled the world, it's our duty to make sure that you do it right so that next time you're traveling, it's much easier for you and you're able to avoid some of the pitfalls that we might have gone through, or at least have an easy time knowing how to have fun in these destinations. And because I don't know why I did forget to like shoot. I think I had too much fun in Malaysia. I didn't shoot, the environment and stuff like that. I did not do videos, but we do have lots and lots of photos with my friends. I'll put them along the video, plus just photos of nature or landmarks or tourist attraction sites that you might want to know. But they're very popular. If you check online, you find some of the places you need to visit. But for me, I need to focus more on, the money part. Number one, how do you plan for it? How do you pay for it? In terms of making sure that you keep your costs low and have fun at the same time, right? So let's dive into it. I went to Malaysia a few weeks ago. I might have forgotten some things, so I might have to remind myself actually. But it was an interesting trip with friends. Number one, it was organized as part of a school. Now, if you're organizing a trip as part of a group, you must ensure that it's a group that has their values aligned. You must be friends, Don't just come together and try to organize trips with Kenyans. You're going to fail because most people, number one, they don't have their values aligned. Number two, they don't take seriously anything that's being organized as a group. Number three, we have so much trauma around spending money on ourselves, so we do not see the need to spend money on ourselves. So you must have someone who will make it normal for you. Normalize you spending money on yourself, you treating yourself. Someone will teach you why this is important, why you need to prioritize yourself. So I feel that most of the time these group travels do fail because the values are not aligned and people are not reading from the same page, or I just say vibration, the vibration are of the same level. So they are vibrating at a completely different level. So one person is like interested in traveling, another person is just saying yes for the sake of it. We are very strict. We know the people who are going to travel with us. We try to make sure that we have very clear guidelines and boundaries, number one. But the most important part is that it's a life coaching school. So our travel is not just any kind of travel. We travel as a part of a life coaching school, meaning even the travel itself is part of life coaching. Getting out of your comfort zone, experiencing life out there, adventure, experiencing other cultures, getting into a new place that you don't know anything about and surviving there for days, traveling from one place to another, like we went into Singapore, back to Malaysia and stuff like that. That is how you get out of your comfort zone. That's how you get to experience the world. And that alone in itself is a lot of stuff for a lot of life coaching in there, content in there. So if you want to travel as a group, make sure you have the same values. You know these people. You understand them. They know you. So we need to travel as a group. And you must have leaders within the group. So there must be people responsible for making sure everything goes according to plan. Right? So there must be someone taking leadership. Because without leadership, nobody will take responsibility. Without responsibility, nothing will get done. So there must be clear leadership. Now, the other thing that you want to ensure, and this I need to mention, is that you start planning early. Kenyans always want to rush things to the last minute. Start thinking of the tickets early, think of accommodation early, think of all the things you might need, not the details really, but just the main stuff. Do you have a good accommodation? And talk to people who have gone there, find people who have been there, find people who have spoken about this destination, find articles, read about it, get to know the place you're going to. Do some research on your own and make sure you have enough information before you get into that flight to go to that place. Now, Malaysia, For those who do not know, by the way, it's visa free. So that's the third point. You can go to Malaysia without worrying about visa, right? For Kenyans. Now, it doesn't mean you can just go and start working. Some people came to me asking me, oh, can you just go and start working in Malaysia? No, you can't, because the visa that they give you is just a tourist visa that's only valid for 30 days. After that, you need to apply for a proper visa if you need an extension. Now, work visa would be a completely different story, or any other kind of visa would be a different story. But in terms of just visiting as a Kenyan with your Kenyan passport, it's visa free. You get the visa on arrival. Okay, so you just get the stamp, 30 days, boom, you get out. If you want to stay longer, now you have to do a proper application. And becoming an illegal person in Malaysia is very difficult, so don't even try it. It's Asia. Asia is not easy when it comes to being illegal and trying to find a way around it. So I would say if you want a visa and you want to do something, or you want to work or do business, then just look for the visa. I'm sure they should give it to you. Anyway, so most people do not know that there are so many countries. I'll do a video on which countries you can visit with a Kenyan passport without a visa. So don't sit there saying, oh, I cannot travel anywhere because I don't have a visa. You do have a visa. Sorry, you do have a passport that can lead you into so many countries. With the visa on arrival, or visa free, or e-visa, there are so many countries. So do not say, oh, you don't want to travel. Those are excuses. Don't say you don't want to travel because you can't get a visa. Malaysia, visa free or visa on arrival, you get your stamp on arrival. So no need to even, the moment you have your passport in Kenya, just get your passport in Kenya, which again, everyone should have a passport. The moment you have that passport, you are ready to go. So you're traveling as an individual or a group or a couple, all good. You've decided that. Then you decided, I've told you about the passport, so you don't need to worry about a visa. Now you know about your accommodation and your flights. Now, flights in terms of, let's say the costs, depends on when you book. It's really varied for most people. If you use a broker, they probably will get some money on it. If you book directly, you might save a few coins here and there. But averagely, you're going to spend around 100,000. Let me just say 100 to 150,000 actually. So between 100,000 to 150,000 for your airfare from Kenya to Malaysia. Okay, that is just the ticket. Depending on how far back you book. Mostly, if you book way back, you're gonna spend around 100,000, maybe slightly below, but most of the time 100,000. But the closer to the time, you're gonna spend around 123, 140, depending on which airline, depending on the broker you use or the agency you use. Very important to keep that in mind, the cost of the flight, because that's one of the biggest, that's going to be one of your biggest expense. Now, then, of course, you have the cost of accommodation in Malaysia. That shouldn't be a big of a problem, really. In Malaysia, there are lots and lots of accommodation. It's a cheap country, to be honest. Okay, not like cheap. Their currency is much stronger than Kenyan currency, so it's not cheap, but it's affordable. Let me say that. It's an affordable country. Compared to so many places I've gone to, Malaysia is quite affordable. Food is cheap. I would say food is cheap. Street food is very common. So if we start with accommodation will cost you probably around 20-30 US dollars, 4,000 Kenya shillings. You can get a nice accommodation per night. Now, that is if you're going to live in those booking.com stuff. Now, if you're traveling as a group, it depends on what you want, right? It depends on the standards you want. And you want to be honest with yourself. For our group, we want very high standard stuff, right? So we go to like really big mansions, like the carrying of that place. Like we take a big mansion, a big villa, and we are like maybe 16 people, and everyone want to have their room or 2 people in one room, or but just be a good exclusive place. Now they're not easy to find, these places, so of course you're gonna spend more money, and they're more expensive, and you need to then worry about transport from those places to town. But if you're just one person, or you're 2 people with your wife or boyfriend or husband, whatever, or friend, just look for a booking.com place that is very close to the center. You can always find them, and then you can live in there. If you want exclusive, nice places, again, they're there. I think when it comes to accommodation, it depends on your pocket. And in a place like Malaysia, let me just make it clear, you can spend 4,000 a night, 3,000 a night, 5,000 a night, depending on how many days you're going. Let's say you're going there for a week. Let's say 7 days, 5,000, we're talking about 35K. So 35,000 Kenya shillings, you can cut up for your accommodation for a week. You done your transport 110,000, so that's 145,000 average, right? Anything else that's left? So you have your flight, you have your accommodation, food is very cheap, so no worries really. If you have something like, I would say 20, 30, 40,000, you're good to go. Again, depends on which places you want to go and eat, right? So I'm already ranging around 160,000 to 170, depending. Okay. So you have your flight, your accommodation, your food ready. What else do you need? You have your passport anyways. Those who are applying for passports, then they would have had to put that cost in there, because then they're getting the passport for the first time, or they're renewing. Put that cost in there. What else do you want to know? When you get there, you want to move around. Malaysia is a big country, so there's Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital city. Then, of course, there are other places you could go to. There are places like Johor Bahru, which is way in the south towards Singapore. There are many cities, and there are many islands actually within Malaysia. Beautiful places like Langkawi, what do you call them? So many places to visit, man. But most people go to Kuala Lumpur for the first time, I would say, because there's so much to do even within Kuala Lumpur itself. So you don't need to worry so much about, going to other places, to be honest. In terms of buying food, I would say it's very cheap. So if you have 20,000 or so, if you're eating just normal street food, they have the main street food. How do you call it? Now I'm going to forget these places, to be honest. I'm going to check this. Sorry, they have the main street food, which is Jalanol. Jalanol has like all these cuisines and all these types of food, whether like seafood, whatever it is you like, you can always eat there. Jalanol. That's one of the main tourist sites or tourist attraction sites. It's a proper market that comes alive at in the evening or at night, because it gets hot during the day. So most of the time it comes alive during the day. Sorry, at night, not during the day. But you can eat there anytime, and I can tell you the food is good. The food is not as expensive. Then there are different varieties. There are varieties, so you can eat whatever you wanna eat. I think that's very important to know. Food is a very important factor. So you have a flight, a return flight, you have accommodation, you have food. Now, I mentioned that Malaysia is quite big, so you might want to go to different places, like we did want to go to different places. And then that now will push your costs up, right? So if you're looking at in terms of you want to go to out of the city, you want to organize transportation. And as a group, we had to organize our own transportation that picks us from the place where we were living. Like I said, we were living in a very exclusive place. It's like a retreat center, very nice, massive mansion in a hill. It's right on a hill. Very beautiful scenery, very beautiful environment, beautiful setting, lots of space for us. But then it means we are a bit off town. So we had to kind of organize how someone can pick us from town. Now, this is where I'm going to say it depends on the kind of person that you find that will help you with this process. Now, we found an amazing person. I want to say amazing. If he allows me, I will actually leave his link to his company or whatever in the description below, just so you can always reach him if you need to, because that guy is just so good at what he does. I like giving credit where it's due. I have traveled, I've dealt with people, and especially, let me say this, in Kenya, people have trauma. They are cruel. They're always trying to con you. They're always trying to do something wrong. These brokers who try to find your accommodation and make money off it, they don't even pay. I've had cases like this, whereby we paid for an accommodation, just realized that the guy didn't even pass on the money to the owner of the house. So these things happen in Kenya, man. I have dealt with people outside Kenya, and they are purely doing business, and that is something we need to embrace. I can recommend this guy to anyone at any time, and I will be sure that you will get exactly what you deserve. So I will definitely want to leave his his contacts or whatever below. If you want to go to Malaysia, then you can always reach out to him. He will help you with everything you want to know, all the sites you want to visit, and planning transportation and stuff like that. He is that good. And he will not ask you for anything extra than exactly what you need to pay him for his services, right? And he will always break them down quite professionally, and you will know what you are paying for. So yes, when you want to plan for your transportation around the different places. Now, this I have to mention, I did assume that I can walk, like sometimes I go to Europe and I just walk within, the town, and you find all these tourist attraction sites are within town. You find that all the church is there, and then there is the monument there, the museum is there, the restaurants are in this street and stuff. It's that almost, within the same area, or you can use a tram or a metro or a train or whatever, or a bus to, do very quick move around. Now that's different in Malaysia, and I was wrong. And that's why it's important to know the ground before you get there. So you can have your plans, be flexible. Don't go there with a fixed mindset, saying that, oh, I plan to do things this way and therefore I'm going to stick this way. No. Be flexible. have time to, change, adjust, and, based on the facts on the ground. Okay. So like I realized that I cannot move, between these places. First of all, it's very hot, extremely hot. So you get really exhausted. And the places are just too far apart. The tourist attraction sites or the landmarks or whatever, they're just too far apart for you. So you need someone to take you from one place to another. And you need someone to help you in terms of planning, because some of the places you need to book them in advance. So like the Petronas, the Twin Towers. If you want to go inside, you need to book. Then there's the tallest tower, the KLC Tower. You need to book if you're going inside, and things like Bantu Caves is like out of the town. All these things, basically you need someone to tell you what to do. For instance, we went to Bantu Caves and then we realized, oh, the ladies cannot get in with, like, if you're wearing anything short, and it's hot, right? So people are not like going to wear long dresses and stuff. And we realized they can't go in without lasers. So we find people there selling lasers very expensively. But if we knew this in advance, for instance, we'd have bought them in advance. But again, this was our, I would not blame it on the person, because the person would not really know what is short and whatever. But get to understand the ground when you get there. That's what I'm saying. Get to talk to these people, get to ask them questions, and get to respect the culture when you get to that place for you to have an easy time. So what I'm saying is transportation should be organized to move you from one place to another. It makes your work much easier, but that might push your costs a bit higher. So I would say if it depends on the transportation. Now, if you're a group, then that's different, because that is going to be expensive, right? Because we have to hire a car or a chauffeur and a car every day, and it has to be, that's the whole time. Okay. If you just one or two people, you can use Grab, which is the cheapest way to actually move around. Grab is the application for taxi, more like an Uber or Bolt or whatever, but that is their application for taxi. So you might want to use Grab, download the application, and you can always order your taxi depending on where you want to go. And it's easy. That's how you get to land the area. For us, the cost will be way higher, because then we hire the car, we pay the driver, we pay the fuel, we pay their time. So for us, it will be a bit higher as a group. We are like over 16 people. So yeah, you can imagine. We can't be using Grab all the time. And I just wanted the efficiency of having everyone close, and we talk and we chat, and when we're in the car. It's fun, part of the experience. What else do you want to know? There are many places to take photos. People do Instagram, influencers, people doing Facebook, whatever, for your memories as well. There are many places now. Let's talk about visiting places. So in terms of expenses, I would not put it below, just to be safe, I would not put it below 250,000 if you're going for, like, say, 6 to 7 days. And that means your accommodation is not as exclusive. But if you're going for those exclusive accommodations, I would put your costs higher than that. Okay, and what is pushing this price this way is just the plane ticket, which would cost you up to 150 sometimes, right? 120, 130, whatever. Then you want to put accommodation. Like I said, I put very low accommodation there. And then you want to put food. Then you want to put transport. You don't want to put, something extra. A lot of small. Like you want to do shopping, for instance. If you go to the shop, there's so many things to buy. If you go to the market, there's just so many things to actually buy. You want to buy for people, for relatives back home, for yourself. There are nice clothes, that you'd want to buy for yourself. It's going to push it to around 250,000. 200,000, you can survive. It will be on the low side. 200,000, you can survive. But 250,000, or that range, now you're starting to have fun. When I say fun, you mean real fun. You can move around without any issue. Remember, again, there are places you will have to visit within Malaysia, and you have to pay for them, like I mentioned. They will be charged if you want to get in and experience the place. Of course, you can just go out and look at it and say, oh, I've seen it, that's fine. No. But some people want to get in, like the KLC Tower, and look at the view of Kuala Lumpur the whole time. Some people want to buy things in these places, memoirs or memorabilia or whatever it is. Some people want to, people but do the different things. So you want to have cash based on what you want. You want to have money based on what you want, but don't have anything less than 200,000 or 250. Okay, now done with all those costs. I hope that helps you to know exactly what you might need. I'm saying that if you decide to go rough, it will be way less than that. If you decide to go really rough, so you will just focus on your air ticket, and then you go like a backpacker, like students in Europe do it. Hostel, I'm sure you get like maybe $10 a night. and then you eat street food, like the cheapest and cheapest. Then that way you can make it cheap. What I know is that traveling, you make it work for you. You make it work for you, depending on how much you want to travel. So don't sit here and say, "Oh, can you say that's too expensive?" No. If you're someone who actually is interested in making it work, it will work for you, despite how much money you have. So that's why I don't discuss money as much, because it's not a factor to me as such. If you decide to go and travel, you will go and travel. What else do you want to know? I don't know, man. I'm confused. What was I talking about? I talk too much. That's just me. Too bad. Too bad. So let's see which places you want to visit. The top places to visit. Okay, I'm going to remind myself here. So there's the Petronas Twin Towers. Yeah, the Twin Towers, a very popular place. You might want to go. They say you can go in, you can pay. I wasn't interested in going in, because I'd gone into the KLC Tower and I'd seen so much around the way the city looks. But yes, that's a big tourist attraction center. It's located just above the Kuala Lumpur Mall, and it's the tallest twin towers in the world. These are the tallest twin towers in the world. Tallest twin towers. Oh, then you have other places outside the city, like Penang and Langkawi, which is like a sky cab. I didn't go to Langkawi, but that's something you might want to do when you get there. Then, of course, we have the Kuala Lumpur Central Park, very beautiful. I went there. I really enjoyed the view, awesome nature. It's an iconic building that's built on the grounds of former Selangor. And then we have the Batu Caves. I loved the Batu Caves. That was an amazing place, to be honest. Just going in there to experience, the stairs are awesome, beautiful, colorful stairs. You go all the way up, then you're within the caves, which are still very natural, and they have this water flowing. Basically, it was a cave inside a big mountainous area. So I don't know how it formed. I didn't read the history, but it was just an awesome experience. Everyone goes there anyway. Take plenty of water. Be careful in the caves. Yeah, as monkeys are looking for anything that they could put their hands on. But yeah, it's a beautiful place to take a picture as well. Those who are spiritual, do some, what do you call it, some rituals, some prayers. But it's beautiful. It's very natural. I love it. If you're going in there, make sure you are dressed properly. If you're a lady, even a man, but ladies, make sure you are, because people are going up the stairs, and it makes sense. You don't want people, looking at you when your dress is so short and you are right in front of them. So you leave them no option but to look at your goodies. Roscoco will be open, man. What else, man? Penang Mansion. Let's see the ones that I would actually recommend you go to. Some of them are just like not as cool. Oh, make sure you go to Jalanor. Jalanor is the food street. Nice place. You can enjoy. If you want to do shopping, go to Pavilion. Pavilion is a mall, but it's the expensive one. Okay, it's one of the biggest places, one of the biggest malls where the people shop. If you want to shop properly, beautiful place actually. Make sure you go in there. We went in there, had fun in there. We were awesomely dressed, so people are taking photos of us everywhere. By the way, theme dressing when you're a group is awesome. We were dressed like, we had our theme dressing, and everyone was taking pictures of us. We became tourist attraction ourselves. I can tell you, we couldn't even move. Sometimes we couldn't even walk for a few meters before people stopping us to take pictures. There's a time I was even so tired of it now. Being a celeb is not easy, guys. Being a celeb is not easy, guys. I was a celeb for a number of days. I loved it, though. I loved it. It was awesome. I was going everywhere. I'm like, cha, 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 please, picture, cha, picture. And you know what? When you travel, be open about these things. Some of them might be taking it for their own reason. Be open-minded. Don't care about what they're doing or what they're doing with the pictures, man. Just take the picture. Enjoy the moment. That's what I mean. Enjoy the moment. And then you want to go to Kuala Lumpur Bird Park. I didn't go to the Bird Park. I don't care about birds, to be honest. I'm not that animal of a person. I'm not an animal lover of a person. I'm not that big on that. Then there's Menara, and then there's the Islamic Arts Museum in Malaysia. Let me just look at some other places. Wait a minute. The KLCC Park is beautiful, located at the feet of Petronas Twin Towers. But then the park is just next to the Twin Towers. It's very beautiful, but mainly at night they have this like amazing, colorful waterfalls. Then we have the bird park, which I've just mentioned. I'm not a bird lover, so I didn't go. Then I've spoken about the Madreka Square. That is like their Independence area, very popular place. You wanna go there, take pictures. Beautiful building, by the way. It was once the cricket green of the local Selangor club. So yeah, just an open, beautiful park or place where they congregate when they're celebrating their Independence Day. Then there's a theme park if you want, Sunway Lagoon. I didn't go there, like I said, I don't care about that. Then there's the Kuala Lumpur Tower. I went in there, beautiful, one of the tallest buildings in the world. Nowadays, I think the tallest one is in Japan or Dubai, but yeah, it's one of the tallest buildings in the world. From there, you can see Kuala Lumpur so well. It's so beautiful, awesome. So entry is paid, but it's not much really. Like I said, have some extra cash with you. Then we have the National Museum. The National Museum, those who like museums, I'm not a big fan of museum. I'm just being honest, unless I have something very specific I want to see. Then the Central Market. There, make sure you go to the Central Market. Beautiful, beautiful place. Lots of things to buy, deco, heritage, whatever, memorabilia, gifts. The Butterfly Park is also a very common one. Most people don't. I didn't go there. I don't care about butterflies. But yes, if you like butterflies, you'd want to go there. But two caves, I've mentioned that already. Bukit Bintang Shopping Center, I mentioned that I believe that's a shopping center. Then there's the Royal Palace, Istana Nagara, beautiful, beautiful. You'd want to take a picture there. I went there, really awesome, love it. Then the different mosques, there are different stunning mosques. There's the Mosque of Malaysia, there are many. There's the Mahamariam Temple. The Then I've spoken about Jalanor. And what else? That's it. Some of the best places, but many, many things to do, guys. Like I said, if you have someone to direct you, you can always find someone. This video is meant to show you how beautiful Malaysia is, show you some of our pictures that we took, tell you where to go to, how much to cost, and if it requires a visa or not. Just the basics, guys. Get off your seat, travel the world. You have a passport. The money you're making, you will still make money. That job will still be there when you come back. Trust me. The only thing you can do while you're young is travel the world. It changes your mind, it changes how you think, it changes how you see every single day. So do yourself a favor and get off the seat and see you in Malaysia. Till next time, I'm out. I'll be talking about Singapore, so tune in soon.